Hi, my name is Jessiah Voné. I am making a video just to talk about some things. I was thinking earlier about the times where I was in college, and I made a post previously on Facebook about talking about how I didn't have the tools to recognize that my mental health needed some care, because I had gone through a lot of things and I never was able to sit and acknowledge it because, I was a freshman in college. I had to just get into gear kind of thing, right? And I was never able to mourn the things that had happened to me properly or with time to just be, like the second divorce of my parents, my dad relapsing, what else? Being a freshman in college, not knowing anyone, that's a whole transition in and of itself. And oh, I don't like talking about it all the time because I'm healed from it now, like 98%. No, but also like from a big rejection I had at the end of high school. So, but anyway, so I was thinking about that, and this is much better lighting, but there's some loud people across the street. It's fine. So yeah, so I didn't have those skills to self-analyze and say, hey, especially not right away. I remember there would be days where I would sleep till 5 p.m. And I don't know what my roommate thought at the time. She didn't think much highly of me, I'm sure. But I'm sure she was thinking what is wrong with this girl? Because she would leave and then I'm still in the bed when she came back. It was real stress. And I remember even being anxious about my dad after the divorce started because of, his history with drug addiction and alcoholism. And I would call him at least once a week, and then it did lead to him, relapsing, which was kind of disappointing, But let me just go inside. Light is leaving me. No. But eventually I did, because my major at the time was psychology. And so I did want to see what it's like to have therapy. So I can't remember if this was my junior year or my sophomore year, but I did seek counseling at the school I went to, Anderson University. They offered those free therapy service. And so I went, and the first therapist I got matched with or set up with, she was very nice. Very, very nice person. However, I was discouraged because I had, the first time we talked about my background, and I explained to her, I grew up in a mostly single parent household with my mom and my brothers, and we lived in poverty in the inner city. I was bullied, I was awkward, and all kinds of things, right? Her first reaction to me just describing my background was, I just want to take this moment, this is me being her, I just want to take this moment to just say that if I ever say something or do something because I don't know what it's like to be a Black woman, I just want to apologize for that. And that's on the surface level, that's sweet. You want a therapist who has empathy. You want a therapist, I'm just going to go inside. Oh, maybe I'll go over here. You want a therapist who has empathy, right? But it's just that. It's surface level empathy. What you really want in a therapist is someone who can put themselves in your shoes, who sees life the way you see it, right? There we go. It's fine. Who sees life through your eyes, You want a therapist that can put themselves literally in your shoes and form that in synchronicity with your mind, and to have that understanding. And then also to be able to step out of that and see the bigger picture, right? See things that you may not notice because you are the person, right? That's what you want in a therapist. So I was like, I'm not feeling it. I tried again for a few times with a different person. She was nice too, but it's the same. It's kind of feeling like, and so I just was thinking about how many times we let surface level differences change the way we think about a person just because of first impressions. And I think it's a shame because you have cultures, right? And I'm a person that loves culture. I love learning about new cultures. I'm attracted to different cultures, So I love that kind of thing. I love the differences there. But also, even across countries, even across the world, we're more alike than we are different because we're all living this human experience. And there are those that are more similar to each other than others, right? But when it comes to the fundamental things like wanting to be accepted, wanting to be loved, wanting to have stability, right? And so forth and so on, like that's what everyone wants at the end of the day. And those fundamental desires and wants should, in theory, should unite us. But because of all the different things we've built up, because of ego, because of culture, or culture, I'll say, religion, even politics, all these different things have we've brought up and like made walls around us, around groups of us, right? And we've become very defensive against one another. It's not good. I don't know. I know that my thinking is not for everyone. However, I do tend to be a global thinker, right? And I just think if we could just get over this little hiccup, just imagine the world peace that we could have. Sincerely. It's a beautiful thought in my mind. And it's just like you walk around, you don't have to fear what people are going to think of you because people will just have immediate empathy, Of course, that doesn't go for the criminals and things. That's different, But in theory, that could help with the level of criminals if we were able to have such a level of empathy where when we have even the urge to want to cut someone off, or that's not criminal activity, I'm just starting little here. Or if you have the urge to, maybe you work in HR and you have the power to steal from your employees secretly, little by little. Nobody will notice, right? But you think, these people are working hard just like I am, right? And they have families, right? Just like I do. And, I shouldn't. Even though I had that thought, God forgive me for that thought, right? I never worked in HR, just heads up. I never had that thought. But anyway, it's just an example, okay? And so, empathy is so very important. Also, empathy cannot... I guess I'm playing devil's advocate. I don't know. No. With myself. No. Also, empathy, if not used properly, as I'm learning, can be hindering for you because you might see someone in the highest light possible, even if they're not treating you right. And you may think, I empathize. I understand how they could come to be the person that they are. I can understand how they could come to make the choices that they're making, or come to become the person that is treating me poorly, right? I can understand it because they grew up and maybe they saw their dad be this way, or they saw their mom be this way, or, different reasons. You empathize with the person to the point where you are accepting less than what you deserve. And I don't believe that's why God gave us empathy, is to be abused or to allow someone to abuse or to accept, that, especially for long term or any term really. But you know what I'm saying? People get stuck in these toxic relationships long term, unfortunately. And so I just think, but like, wouldn't it be a beautiful world if empathy in the most healthiest way, most productive and proactive way, was the number one thing we think of when we meet someone new, when we're at work with our coworkers, or even with our working, even when we're with our children, right? Even in marriage, of course, and friendships. Even when we're waiting in line and we're tired of waiting, or we're late and the red light is taking longer than usual. Stuff like that, you know. Even when we are rich and we see these people look like peasants, and so we're going to cut in line at Wendy's. That happened to me one time. This nice little Mercedes got in there. I was like, okay, I guess you needed that Wendy's more than I did. Like, anyway, it was just funny. But yeah, so anyway, I'm just thinking, like, especially though if you work in the field of therapy or energy work of like Reiki healing, I guess, anything like that, you have to use empathy in the most progressive and productive way. You cannot have a false sense of empathy, like where you still see people as different, or you're not necessarily that, because we are different and the differences are beautiful, right? But where you're not able to put yourself in their shoes is what I mean. And I think this thing needs to be practiced worldwide, person to person, 100% across the board, you know. Yeah. The power of empathy, the power of understanding, you know. Even like right now, some people might think, you know, okay, Jessiah, you've been out of work for some time now, and you may be okay with the lifestyle you're living, going to food pantries and things like that, but your children deserve better, right? Someone could say that, right? That's true. That's what motivates me. I always want to give them the best life possible. But I'm not going to do it at all cost, right? For example, say I have a job interview, and I don't have daycare anymore, right? And so I've expressed how much my family don't protect children. I've stated that several times. So why would I leave my children in the hands of people I don't trust, who I know didn't protect me? And when these conversations of the past have come up, they don't talk about it. They're very defensive. Things have not changed, right? Why? Not at all cost. So instead, I take this time to study some things I really want to get into. And when that opportunity comes up, to be able to invest more deeply into what I want, the direction I want to go in career-wise, I'll be ready. I'm working, and it's hard. It's hard being a single parent with no support, no past the surface level, right? Well, that's not true. Let's give gratitude where gratitude is due. My aunt agreed to take me and my daughters on when my ex became incarcerated. And I tried, actually, vigorously so, with 2 kids, pregnant, to maintain my life in Indianapolis. However, no job hired, unfortunately. And it felt like I was left no choice but to move to Ohio. And so she was like, yeah, we're going to take care of you, Jessiah. Of course, I'm an independent woman. Well, I'm learning. Well, okay, so for me, it's been kind of like there's a duality there with that. I was, in a toxic way, too much of my feminine energy when it comes to my marriage, my past marriage. I relied too much on him. I did not get things done. I did not I was not, in a sense, equal with some things. It was imbalanced, right? Because I didn't make up for it, but I overpoured the love. It was like not equal give and take when it comes to love, when it comes to a person that is giving you their time, their effort. One time for Valentine's Day, it's embarrassing. No, it is what it is. I mean, I've moved past it, right? I do wish him well, but I'm done completely. But one time for Valentine's Day, my ex got me a Valentine's Day cards, and you could tell he put no effort whatsoever, and even picking a card. It said, "Happy Valentine's Day to my sister," at the end. To my sister. It's just like, wow. Yeah, and like, I was the joke of Indianapolis, to be honest with you, But it's all right. Being humbled is really a power move, because the lower you get, it only goes up from here, right? It only goes up from here. I was faithful to somebody who was not faithful to me, and I'm proud about that, because I wouldn't want it to be any other way. What would I have gained? What would I have gained in revenge cheating? What would I have gained in trying to get back? An STD? No, thank you. Even God protected me from my partner's reckless endeavors. Excuse me. So I'm thankful for that. Very much thankful for that. To have good health and a fresh start, even if it's going to be a fresh start where I'm going to have to work hard for it, obviously. But you guys are all witness to this. It's exciting. Like I said, you can only go up from here. But anyway, last thoughts, just that, the power of empathy, is beautiful and it is amazing. And if I could just set a reminder to, when you meet someone, try not to just judge based off first impressions, but try to really, doesn't have to take too long, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, but just take a moment. I wonder what this person goes through on a daily basis, right? And you may be able to, even as you get to know them, whether it's a coworker or a friend or a person at your church or a client, I don't know, you'll be able to have better understanding and feel more connected to that person. Yeah, empathy is everything. I really believe that. Music is everything also. Baking is everything. Gardening is everything. No, but yeah. It's pretty exciting. I must say. Let's see how this lighting is looking. That is good. No, but anyway, I just wanted to hop on here and talk about empathy and love. Really, it's connected to love, And like I said, you have to be careful with that thing. You can't just do it to a point where it becomes toxic, right? To where you're loving someone who doesn't love you. You can love them even if they don't love you, but you can't pour into them continuously without some kind of give and take in a healthy way. I had to learn that. And I know that when the time comes for me to meet my person, I will need them to be patient with me, because for so long of my life, the way my mentality worked is you pour love into someone even if they're not matching that. I've never met someone that matched that, if that makes sense. And so if I ever